This is the Stubborn German Podcast. I'm Kevin Ostie, joined by the proprietor of the Stubborn German Brewing Company here in wonderful Waterloo, Illinois, Mr. Chris Ron. Chris.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the show. And our esteemed producer, Mr. Jared Chasson.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. So this is the inaugural episode.
Number one. Numero uno.
That's right.
Ein.
And the fun thing about this podcast is, although it centers around the Stubborn German Brewing Company here in wonderful Waterloo, Illinois, my thought was that this isn't necessarily going to be a beer brewery type podcast.
Correct. That was my thought as well. You can see we've planned a whole lot about what we're going to do here.
Well, I'm glad you agreed with me.
Yes.
If you would have said, that's not what I want.
No, we're discussing the intricate details of how to make a Dusseldorf alt beer today.
Right. Well, and there are...
Not just that.
Yes.
We are going to get into that.
We will at some point.
And
Maybe not today.
Yeah, I'm not saying we won't, but there are definitely brew-centric podcasts.
Absolutely, yes. That is on the docket for some time in the very near future. So,
nice.
Yep.
But to me, in addition to the great beer, what makes this establishment so fantastic is the community, right? When you come here, you see people, of course you drink, you have a nice time. And, I don't think I've actually talked much about beer, outside of saying, hey, Michael, can I have another? On many nights you see people and, hang out.
Yes.
So I thought this would be a great opportunity to capture some of that environment, maybe call it, if you will, a brand extension
there you go.
Of the Stubborn German Brewing Company.
I like that. That sounds nice. Yeah.
That's actually a real term.
Oh, I thought you made it up right there.
Well, a good brand extension is when you take one thing and, like Oreo. Oreo is a perfect example.
Okay.
Oreo started off as a cookie. Now it's ice cream and
there you go.
Other stuff.
Yep, it's all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So Stubborn German Brewing Company was first Stubborn German was a beer, and
Sure.
then it became the brewing company, and now it's online.
There we go.
I think we need an Oreo stout, Chris. Come on.
Sounds like idea
Sounds
number
pretty
one
good.
is already
Somebody needs to write this down.
That's right.
Oreo stout. Got it. Okay.
To our esteemed listeners, write that down and email it to us.
Let us know because we may forget after a long night of podcasting.
There might be a drinking game in there. How many different beer ideas?
Yeah.
Every time Gerald comes up with one, somebody take a drink.
Right. There you go.
So the whole thing about this is that being the first episode, we're feeling this out and we're trying to establish what's going on and where it all came from. So one of the questions that I think you get very often, Chris, is why Stubborn German? Where did the name come from and the whole deal?
The name, yes. That is a very, very common question we get. Basically, the name to me anymore. If someone asks me why did you name your brewery Stubborn German, I can tell immediately they're not from Monroe County. Obviously, if you say nothing, it's a good indication that they know exactly what we're talking about. So, But yeah. It has a few meanings. First and foremost, I can be a little on the stubborn side myself.
Nah.
Yeah, I can, believe it or not. German brewing in general, which has always been my biggest interest in brewing, is the German beers. Can tend to be a little bit on that stubborn end of it as well. We do it this way because we've always done it this way. Why would we change? It worked good for hundreds of years. Why would we change? And I love that about it. That's one of the fun things about it. And to be able to repeat a good batch of beer and do it again and again and again. I got into that a lot more than I ever got into. What's the craziest hoppy beer I could make, or what's the weirdest ingredient I can throw in a beer. That those beers are fun, but I like to cuddle up next to a good Pilsner and have 2 or 3 or 4 if I want.
Well, and to your point, the concept of the consistency and repeatability falls under the precision, which is a German hallmark.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Very good call.
Yeah.
But yeah, also to do with the name. Just the stubborn German. Well, basically, we'll get into our who we are kind of things here in a minute. But I used to have an automotive shop, And you get these old farmers, from around here that have, they're twice removed off the boat from Germany, basically, and they're very, very stubborn in their ways, and dealing with them was always interesting and a lot of fun, really, and I don't know, that was part of it too. Just the people around here, the area is very, very German influenced. That never left. Those German immigrants came in the mid to late 1800s, and everyone around here kind of probably still knows someone that talks with a fairly thick German accent right now.
Yep.
So.
Mm-hmm. And that's an interesting observation, because I'll say by happenstance, I landed in Waterloo, Illinois. I'm originally from the Chicago area and lived in L.A. and met my wife, who's from Waterloo, and here I am. And I also happen to be of German descent, much like yourself. So this is very familiar to me for, being at family gatherings and enjoying the beers and singing the songs and doing all that. When you have your Stubborn Fest event, there's video of me.
There's very good video of you.
Well, I try to enjoy that event, and it's not hard to enjoy. It's a good one.
I would say you pulled that off last year or the year before.
Yeah. So, Jared, now your experience with this establishment, how did you meet Chris?
I met Chris after just being a customer, so I didn't know Chris before Stubborn German. But I quickly realized this is my kind of place. I'm not into the kind of loud, obnoxious college bar type atmosphere. That's all good. I don't have, I'm not opposed to that.
They have their place.
Yeah, right.
I'm into the low key, get to know your bartender, get to know the other patrons, sit back, enjoy a pint, and that's what this place is to me. So it's literally my favorite place in town to hang out.
Oh, gosh.
He's blushing, folks.
Blushing over here.
Yeah, no kidding. Hopefully he's going to compensate you as much as he is me for that.
I'm drinking for free tonight. So
Tonight only.
Yeah.
And are you from Waterloo?
Not originally. So I've been here since I was a kid, so probably 30 years now. My family's growing up here now.
So, yeah.
But a long time, but yeah.
Pretty soon you'll be able to say you're from Waterloo.
Right.
Yeah,
my kids can
After
say that.
30
so
years,
exactly.
you're getting there.
It counts, yeah. I'm old school. But, yeah, I'm a French-Canadian, though. I don't have that German background, so I can't, join in with the antics. But, I'm getting there.
We'll adopt you, I think. Yeah, it's no problem.
I'll make an exception. So, I was, kind of considering that a lot of people talk about their nationality, their heritage, their ethnicity, and whatnot. And, you might say, well, I'm German. And today, to me, I was born in the United States. I'm an American patriot, and I tend to say I'm American, but everybody else around the world, seems to have, at least here, you meet somebody that says they're Irish and they've never been to Ireland,
Right.
So I was just trying to figure out in my own world, how far removed am I? And so my grandparents on my dad's side emigrated to the U.S. around 1883.
Okay.
And my grandfather on that side and grandmother were both born in Chicago. And on my mom's side, both my grandmother and grandfather were born in Germany. And they came here in 1926.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of an interesting story because my grandmother and her sister, one born in Germany, the other born in Chicago. My grandmother from Germany was raised in a rural setting, small town, very much like Waterloo, where we are.
Sure.
And she was raised on goat's milk. They raised goats, and they didn't have like a goat farm, but they had a goat for milk.
Yeah.
And my grandmother lived to be 92 years old, and she credits her longevity and her immune system to growing up on the farm and drinking the goat's milk and being around the animals and dirt and everything else. Her sister, born in Chicago, was kind of sickly her whole life. So there's something to that. So
there you go. You got to stay on the farm.
Yeah, and it's the hardiness and the robustness of that lifestyle. So
yeah, and well, and not to interrupt, but you talked about saying you're Irish, but you've never been to Ireland. I'm totally that guy. I'm the guy that even owns the German brewery that has never been to Germany.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, people around here ask, what's your, where are you from? Well, I'm from Waterloo, but yeah, we're of German descent. So
yes.
So I claim that for sure. One of these days I will get there. We actually had a trip booked right at the time we were deciding to open up this brewery, and that was kind of at the time where everything must go because we got to cash in and buy a brewery, basically, or save up to make this thing happen. So that had to go, as well as an old Chevelle and some other fun toys, but I don't know, this is fun too. So
well, yeah, and I'm that guy also. My parents have been to Germany, and I've got cousins and everything there, but I have not yet either, which is why I like to come here.
There you go.
And it's interesting because this is not like I would say a super authentic German experience where everybody's speaking German and everything's from the 1400s,
right.
and there's artifacts and but there is
that would be cool.
It would be.
We should do that.
You'll get there. The authenticity is in the beer.
Yeah,
for sure. That's legit.
And thank you.
Oh yeah. But what I like what you guys have done in this place, it's a wonderful kind of smaller scale beer hall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you guys built the furniture and did all the renovations and that's a great story we'll get into too. But it's very comfortable. So where I was going with that is people might be a little bit hesitant, a little bit intimidated, if you will, to go to a place, that maybe they're not of German heritage, and they don't know what this is all about, but this is welcoming to everybody.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And that's what we try to do as far as, the way the place looks, the way it feels, the way it flows, the things that are on our menu. We don't have any food. You're welcome to bring in food from anywhere. We encourage everyone to support all of our neighboring local restaurants, which there's plenty within walking distance, plenty of really good ones within walking distance. I mean, really good food.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the drinks that we have, though, I mean, if you're not into beer, we have bourbon, we have wine, we have a couple bottles of bourbon.
Oh my God, you guys are insane with bourbon.
A couple to the 100th power.
Yeah. We like to call ourselves a brewery with a bourbon problem. So
can we talk about that a little bit? Like, how did you decide to incorporate what you're doing with bourbon with your brewery?
Well, so I would say maybe a year or two before we decided to open a brewery, a couple of friends of ours decided, let's just get out of town. We could go do the Bourbon Trail. It's about 4 hours away to get to Louisville, and then you're kind of south from there. So 4 to 5 hours, you're in the thick of it. And they're all right there within about, say, an hour from the furthest one away to the next furthest, and everywhere in between. So they're 15 to 20 minutes in between. So we made a little weekend of it, 2-3 nights or whatever. And I honestly, before that, had never really been into bourbon, and I was just kind of like, I'm just going to go into this with an open mind. Me being the big beer nerd that I was, like
an open mouth.
I did, yeah. And I loved it. So a quick bourbon story here. The very first bourbon experience I had, we get into town on a Friday night. Saturday morning, I've got my first tour booked. We're going to go to Wild Turkey. It was close to our hotel. It's like, we'll start there and we'll branch off from there. We get to Wild Turkey. We're the first tour of the day. So we get in. The ladies are kind of setting things up. Oh, you're a bit early, but you can poke around here in the gift shop, and when we're when we're ready for you, we'll let you know. Well, this gift shop is actually an old house.
What time of day was that?
9 a.m., something like that.
Yeah. That's when I start drinking beer.
Oh, yeah.
He's an early drinker.
You do the tour first and then you drink.
Oh, right.
But in the door walks Jimmy Russell, the long time master distiller of Wild Turkey.
Wow.
And it's me and my wife and two of our friends, and then the two ladies in the gift shop, and Jimmy Russell. And
Dynamite.
I think back on that now, and it's like what I wouldn't do right now to be in a room with 4 or 5 other people and Jimmy Russell. Like, how cool is that? But he's pretty much I don't want to say God's gift to bourbon, but he's a living legend for sure. He's been a Wild Turkey for I think it's over 50 years. They name roads after, and that's how I knew who he was. Since I knew nothing about him before, is we had to drive in on Jimmy Russell Way.
Yeah.
So, of course, I know nothing about bourbon, and so here he is, and I know he's somebody that I should know and care to talk to. So I go up and I say, "Hey, hi, Mr. Russell. I want to buy a bottle here. What do you think I should get? What do you like? What do you drink?" And he goes, "Wild Turkey."
Nice.
Okay. No problem. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was my very first bourbon experience, and from there I was hooked. It's like, this place is so cool. So, in every other distillery, I didn't meet the owner or the master distiller at every other distillery, but it's similar kinds of interactions with people. They love to host. They're so thrilled that you're there. That it's and genuinely, it's not just because they see dollars walking in the door. Like, they genuinely care about you. It's really, really cool place, and here I am being the spokesperson for the Bourbon Trail. But if you need to do a long weekend, I highly suggest hitting up a couple distilleries for sure.
Well, I think Jared and I are thinking the same thing, that there are people that come here and they say, "I got to meet Chris, the brewmaster at Stubborn," right?
The guy with all the bourbon.
Oh boy, I don't know about that. Yeah, the guy that bought all the bourbon.
The guy that's never been to Germany.
How awesome! Yeah.
Do you know offhand how many bottles you have on your behind the bar?
It's right around 150.
150.
Holy
yeah,
mackerel.
150
crazy.
there, and then we have the little bottle shop.
Yeah.
Around the corner, and that's got about 50 bottles that we sell the bottle to go. We've started that right around COVID time. We decided to also expand our business. So that was a pretty sweet move.
Well, and I think you and I were talking about this a couple years ago, that your particular liquor license allows for that, and not every bar does.
Right? Yeah. Being a brewery, it's an Illinois thing. There's some weird. But basically, if we can sell our cans, we can sell growlers, all to go, but it also includes bottles of liquor. So that we kind of lucked out after we did a little research. We had no idea the whole time that we could have been, or we probably would have been doing this way longer. But
Well, so because this is our first episode, I do want to set the Wayback Machine a little bit and hear about how this whole thing started and how you and I kind of came, together. Not that we're in any official capacity; we're just buddies, But you had a previous life that is kind of far removed from this one.
Yeah, I alluded to it a little while ago, but I was into the automotive field pretty heavily. I went to Rankin Technical College in St. Louis, and that's kind of where I did my training, mainly because I couldn't see myself going to school for 4 full years, but 2 was possible. So,
well, it's because brewing wasn't offered.
Brewing was not offered at that time.
Can you imagine?
I still think it's not. But
only 4 years.
Yeah, that's a good point. There are a lot of brewing classes opening up now at different colleges that I probably would have been taking advantage of. But yeah, so I was like, I can work on cars. That would be fun. Let's do that. So did that. Got a job at a chain shop in the St. Louis area. Worked there for about 10 years, and bounced around from store to store. Like I said, it was a chain, and basically after that, I kind of got sick of working for somebody else and decided to open our own store, our own shop. So we rented a little 2-bay shop on the end of town. So it's literally 2 bays, so two lifts, 2 racks for cars, and a little office and a bathroom, and a small parking lot of maybe 6 or 8 cars. And neighbors hated us, I'm sure, but
and Ron's hometown auto repair was born.
Yes, we should probably say what it was. Yeah, so we had the shop there for about 8 years, and I don't know, maybe around year 6 or 7, or something like that, I started to kind of get the itch. Like I don't know, maybe I don't want to beat my elbows up, swinging hammers at ball joints all day for the rest of my life until I'm 65. And thought, let's see what else is out there, kind of. And honestly, it kind of came to me. I had a couple friends at different times, 2 different times in the same maybe 3 or 4 months, come to me and say, hey, you're this. So I've been home brewing the whole time. So they tasted my home brew at parties and stuff like that.
I think
so
we need to have a whole other episode about home brewing, because that's a fascinating story to me. So okay,
we will definitely.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But I've been home brewing. They come to me and they say, your beer's really, really good. Waterloo would be great for a brewery. I think you should open a brewery. And here I am with a fairly successful automotive shop, or in my eyes, I thought it was. And And they're telling me this, and the first one I just kind of blew off. But then the second guy came, and he was a little more aggressive, and not aggressive, but he didn't let me just say no right away.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, you know what? Fine. I'm just gonna do all the research and let you know. Here's why it can't work. You know that all that equipment is way bigger than what I use. I'm used to the little turkey fryer burner in my garage, and you're doing half the dishes in your kitchen sink and that kind of thing. Which is nothing wrong with that. You can make great beer that way. And, I did so much research that, trying to tell him why I couldn't do this, that I, eventually changed my own mind. I was like, wait a minute, I think maybe I could do this. And so here we are.
Well, you did it right, I think. And what I always find fascinating is there are many, many people who have a career and then realize that they're more passionate about something else. But not many of them take the leap to pursue that.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for that. But
like how crazy I am, or
just to, maybe
to leave like I said, a perfectly good thing.
What would the word be? Maybe stubborn.
Stubborn is that's.
But honestly, the fact that you started your own automotive shop is already a big deal. Like, how many guys come out of Rankin and say, you know what, I'm going to do build my own shop? That's pretty uncommon, I would think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess. Probably. I know a couple guys that were in some of my classes.
And
that
then
have
how many
shops,
guys throw that all away?
Yeah, I threw it all.
To try to start a brewery.
Yeah, are you crazy? So you and I.
Yeah, let's see how this all ties together here.
You and I met while you were operating the automotive shop because. I have a shop in Red Bud, Illinois, right down the road that we do.
A very cool shop.
Well, thank you.
Can we say the name of your shop?
Yeah, it's the V8 Speed and Resto shop, nice. and we restore cars and do muscle car improvements and high performance stuff.
Hold on, little side note: they do amazing work. I mean, honestly, this is the only plug I'll ever do. But you have to check them out. Amazing stuff.
Thank you for that. We appreciate that. And we try to do as much of the restoration work in-house as we could, but we didn't have things like an alignment rack. And Chris, his shop, had an alignment rack. But the crux is we were building a 68 Camaro that was worth probably $150,000 at the time.
He didn't tell me how much this car was worth when he dropped it off.
Well, we observed from afar for a little bit.
Oh, God.
When you take a car like that where the wheels, were worth $5,000, you don't want to just take that to any corner shop that may damage them, and, you need somebody who cares.
God, how did we not damage those?
How did you care?
How did all that happen?
Yeah. So we'd heard about you and stopped in and kind of checked the place out. And obviously, for me, it was a little reluctant to actually release the control of this vehicle. And
I think I had to tell you, Kevin, I'm going to need those keys if you want me to pull it in.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole bunch of stories that
you're going to have to get out of the car.
Yeah. But we dropped it off, and you were able to do the alignment to the specs that we wanted, which were a pain because much like you with your brewing, you wanted a very specific way. It's got to be right.
Yep.
And you were able to do that for us, so we became a repeat customer. And eventually, we started seeing each other because Waterloo's not a huge town at social outings and whatnot.
Yep.
And I knew that you were kind of into brewing beer, but I didn't really know the level, the depth, until my wife's family, who has a farm outside of town here, was having a party over Memorial Day weekend. It was our annual farm party, and you offered to bring some beer out. And I'm thinking, oh, sure, And in my mind, I'm thinking, guy's going to show up with a 12-pack, because
Coors Light.
People are bringing their own beer, whatever. And Chris shows up with 2 barrels and
Nice.
taps and cups
I
and
did
the whole
do that,
thing.
didn't I?
Yeah, and you're like, just to let me know what you guys think. And I was like, wow. So what do we have here? And I think you had something that eventually turned into your Stubborn Fest.
Yeah, probably so. That was the very first batch I made. So yeah, that was the practice batch.
Yep, and it was really good. And everybody that was at that party that drank the beer really, really liked it. And it was funny because most of the other people do bring their own beer, a case of whatever, and all those were left in the fridge. And in the coolers
Nice.
by the end of the party, because and your kegs are floating in the ice barrels. So I was like, this guy's got some talent here. I mean, This is for real. And an investment in some equipment and stuff. And it wasn't a huge deal, but you were able to keg the stuff and, whatever. And you and I then, for me, because I didn't grow up here, I got involved with the community through the Optimist International organization, which is a youth fundraising organization. And it instantly introduced me to a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of guys that live in this town and in the county. And we were always looking for people that, we think would make a good candidate, which means generally you have to be willing to do some work, because we have these big events and we need people to staff the events that are part of the community, but also care about the community and know that they got to, maintain, I don't want to say so much an image, but there's a standard, it's not a bunch of screw-offs. So one day, I think I was thinking about it, and I think you asked me about it.
Yeah, I think I did, yeah.
Which was kind of strange. But Chris was like, so what's the deal with that Optimist Club? You're in that, right? And I said, yeah, and you needed a sponsor, so to speak, to get in. So I sponsored Chris. The club voted him in instantly, unanimously, and
because he brings kegs to parties.
It's very tough to get into clubs like that when you
bring all the beer. Right,
you bring the beer.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, the meetings that we have are generally at a different bar in Waterloo down the street.
Yep.
At JV's. So it wasn't something where you could showcase all of your beer.
Right.
But many of the patrons or the members of the club by that point had already tried it, and they also knew you from the auto shop, and that you had a stake in this community. So
sure.
So by that point, you and I got to spend every other Thursday, basically at the bar chatting about stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where you were discussing the idea of, I'm kind of maybe thinking about getting out of the shop and.
Right.
I know it's crazy, but I'm thinking about maybe opening a bar. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
You should totally do that.
You need to do that because I'm going to go there, and I don't have the risk.
That's right.
So Kevin and basically a couple more people that kind of had the same attitude as him are the reason that this all happened.
Yeah, you shouldn't listen to your friend. Well, it worked, not that we had anything to do with it. But I think the strategy, which, again, I don't know if it was planned. I know in my own business there are many things that we look back on that weren't planned, that if they were, they would have been brilliant.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm not going to claim them. But I will call it a strategy of introducing people to your product long before you have the facility.
Yeah.
To take their temperature and spread the word and everything else was brilliant, because you got people excited about it, and I don't want to use the drug pusher analogy, but you got them hooked on this stuff, and they need more.
I mean, we had plenty of time. It took us 11 months from the time we first got the keys to this place, 11 months to do the construction, and again, that's just on my little shoestring budget. So some things had to wait, literally wait to go work on some more cars at the shop, pad the bank account, and
I was going to say, I don't remember how much overlap was there between working at the shop and working here.
So
when did you decide to call it quits on the auto shop?
Yeah, we sold the shop to our technician that we hired. We hired him right out of high school. He also went to Rankin just like I did. Mm-hmm. I taught him everything I know, and which wasn't a whole lot, but he knows whatever that was. And he bought our shop. I guess that would have been 2 years ago. So there might have been, 3 years or so of overlap. 2.5 maybe of overlap.
That's actually more than I thought. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
My wife Tammy was,
but he didn't work there the whole time.
Well, right.
So that's where I'm headed now. She was actually at the shop. Doing the office work and all, and also doing bookkeeping work for the brewery, which can be done, kind of anywhere. And she was there at the shop with Jake. Jake's fixing cars, Tammy's answering phones, paying bills, doing things like that. Then basically I was here. I was at the brewery making beer, cleaning, doing whatever needed to be done. And eventually we just kind of decided, it was kind of the Ron Burgundy thing, like, don't half-ass two things, full-ass one.
Full-ass.
Right, there you go.
Not Ron Burgundy.
Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson.
Right? Yeah.
Gosh, got my Rons mixed up, but I love both of those Rons.
Never half-ass two things. You need to full-ass one.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, and the whole time when you were here at the brewery and your lovely wife Tammy was at the automotive shop, It was really fascinating because there was a portrait of Chris on her desk, which she would look at and fawn over. Saying, where is this guy?
I've never heard that story.
Well, and the construction crew and the team that put this together is also a pretty cool story.
Yeah, I mean, it was friends. It was friends, family. It was. I mean, a lot of it was hired out for sure. We used everything from union labor to non-union labor to, again, anybody with a. Gosh, I remember I had one friend that had I think it was an in-law of some sort, another guy that was just in town for the weekend, and he's like, hey, I kind of want to come and help you, but I got this guy. I don't know, you don't know him or
Bring
anything.
him with.
I'm like, let's go.
Nice.
And I don't even know that he's been back. I mean, we worked him pretty hard that day.
Yeah, and the beer wasn't ready.
And the beer was not ready. Yeah, so
fooled him.
Yeah, we had so we had a homebrew club. We had all those guys that I was constantly sending text messages and saying, hey, if you want heat at your next meeting here at the brewery, let's get some work done. So it was literally anybody that could lend a hand, and I don't know. I tried not to push people beyond their what they were capable of, obviously, but I do think it kind of helped. They kind of had a sense of belonging or whatever that they helped do this or whatever. And every once in a while, you'll still get so and so might pop in, and say, oh, I remember when I did that, and oh wow, yeah, you did do that, didn't you?
Yeah,
and like, thank you.
Yeah, which you got to be careful if you change anything.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah, I covered up, John's wall or whatever. Uh-oh. John's going to be ticked.
So you guys were able to use that kind of Bavarian beer hall theme. There's a lot of wood. There's, some of the Bavarian flags and the decor. But there's also a lot of really creative elements, like your hanging lantern, your chandeliers, if you will, made of the barrels.
Yeah. Yeah, guess who made those?
Yeah,
I did.
You made those, right?
Yeah.
We were, I think, about 6 months after they were up there. We were joking that there hadn't been a fire, so you did a great job.
Somehow it worked.
Yeah. Well, you learn a lot of different skills when you're trying to start a business, especially when you're trying to build one.
You sure do learn a lot of skills. Yeah, I actually enjoy doing electrical work. I enjoy some minor plumbing. I don't know if I should say that, actually. I don't know if I enjoy plumbing that much. That's almost asking for trouble, right?
Because if you're free this weekend, I got an issue at my house.
See, that is already starting. But no, I don't mind all that, actually, now. Then I would have no clue. But, I mean, eventually you just kind of have to jump in and, they kind of said, well, if you help, the rate's cheaper. Well, let's go.
Well, not only that, when it's your own place, you have to take the time to care about that plumbing, because if it blows apart in the middle of the night and floods the basement,
absolutely,
it's a little more important.
Yeah, yep, for sure. No, it's definitely done right. So
how much thought went into the design and layout and decor? You got obviously brickwork, but a lot of hardwood everywhere. Were you winging it, or did you talk with a consultant, or how did that go?
The consultant was my wife.
Okay. We're going to have her on.
Yeah. We will. Yeah. Yeah. Do you like this color? Do you like that color? Yeah. But no, I wish I could tell you that, we planned it to look exactly like this, but no, a lot of it was just kind of, well, this will work for this and that'll work for that. And, underneath this plaster is some really cool, old looking brick.
Yeah.
So let's get that plaster off of there. And, so it all, the ceiling was all there the way it was. So we didn't have to touch that except for cleaning it and painting it, which was very nice.
Because it looks great, and it seems like somebody came in here and thought all this out.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, they just nailed a bunch of boards to the wall.
Yeah, it was literally like, what's going to stop people from jumping over the 3-foot wall and coming into the brewery and chugging all the beer? Well, we need an iron fence. So we found a fence.
Yeah, which is where we're recording this right now is in the brewery section of the brewing company, I guess. And I asked Chris before we started, what do we call this area? And he's like, I don't know, the dungeon, it's kind of like a beer yard.
The jail cell. Yeah.
Right. And behind us along the wall are the giant tanks. Mm-hmm. And that has also been kind of an adventure to go from, obviously from home brewing to professional, but you've scaled along the way there too.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like the tanks in particular, I found them on. There's a website called probrewer.com, and they've got a forum and a for sale section, and found this system up north in the Duluth, Minnesota area, and it was kind of like, okay, you're up. If you want it, come get it.
Wow.
Bring some cash. And it's like, oh, so I have to drive to Minnesota tomorrow with cash.
Nice.
And hope that this all works out. So I did that. I grabbed a buddy. We went up there and took turns driving. Went up there, checked it all out, and the guy was real cool. And I took a video of him explaining how everything works. Because again, I'm a home brewer. I don't know how to use this stuff. I don't have any training.
Wow.
So I basically made him kind of walk me through an entire brew day, and then to transfer beer, and then to keg beer, and all that. He did all that. I recorded it so I wouldn't forget anything. And left him a bunch of cash, and then went home because I couldn't fit it in my wife's minivan.
So you had to leave the tanks up there.
Tanks while he had my tanks and my money, and that was probably the scariest month or so there. So an uncle.
So
I have an uncle that has a trucking company.
I was going to say, did you just freight
so
him
he was
here?
going to go and get them.
Wow.
And then they got snow the very next day.
Man.
And it was like, So that it was supposed to be a couple days, and then he'd be up there, and it turned out to be somewhere around a month or a couple weeks, a month, something like that, before he came and got it. So. That was a little nerve-wracking, but no, really good people up there, and we don't really. I mean, not like we talk every day or anything, but I still follow them on social media and that, and they're doing very well. So my system is a 3-barrel system. They upgraded to a 30-barrel system.
Oh,
so
wow!
They went for it, and I got there. And basically, the cool thing was when you go that much bigger, none of the equipment works, or not none of it. I mean, you can use a pump for anything, but. A lot of this equipment that I use today wouldn't have worked on a system that big. So I kind of got everything, which was really nice. So
So some guy just showed you how to use all this stuff, and you just brought it home and figured it out. That's crazy. You'd think you'd have to have a big, week-long training seminar with people. You just figured it out.
There was a couple practice batches involved, and again, that's where Kevin's Memorial Day party beer came from. So that was definitely practice beer. And
by the way, I didn't know that was practice beer.
Yeah.
Why would I tell him that?
So just to paint a picture here, some of the beers right now are old favorites, but there's a couple I don't recognize. Pineapple Lightning War, right? That's a new one, right?
Lightning War. We've had that a couple
times,
okay. But we made that today.
Okay.
That was actually we're going way deep into this, but at the BBQ, which is an Optimist event, the winner of that, so it's a beer and barbecue competition. All amateurs, amateur barbecuers, amateur brewers. Mm-hmm. Well, we have a competition for each. So the brewing end of it, the winner of that. This would have been the first year we did that, so 3 years ago.
Yep.
That was their beer, and that was actually the first beer that they had made on an all-grain system, and they kind of lucked out and just nailed it.
Wow.
And it was a popular vote type of a thing, and they won.
Cool.
And so we had them come in and brew their beer here on the big system. So we did that the first time, and then they were actually I invite them back every time we make it. So they were here today hanging out, and
wow,
yeah. And so that's a great. That's a great story. That was a great day.
It was an awesome day.
Event. Yeah, I'm lucky enough to MC that event.
Nice.
And it's my responsibility. It's my duty, if you will, to visit all of the barbecue competitors and sample.
Yeah. You owe it to them. I think.
Well, I would be doing them a disservice if I didn't try every beer that was there. And then I'm on the microphone and people are listening. You were one of the few people listening that wasn't trying to tune me out and saying, "What the heck is he talking about?" Because I was,
yes,
I was losing the Pineapple Lightning War. I think
you were losing the war.
But how excited the guys were to say, all right, I'm an amateur. I'm trying this out. I brewed some stuff. I brought it. Not only did I win, but now this established brewery is going to make my beer. And those kind of things happen here where it's not, a giant, nameless, faceless brewery. You've got a story for every one of your beers, and you know a lot of the people that, had these recipes and work with other people.
Definitely.
And you really feel connected to all that. And the fun thing is, everything is cooler when you know the story behind it.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially if you come here and you sit down at the bar and you're talking to somebody and they look over at the tap handle and go, "Oh, yeah, what's this alt beer?" Yeah. Well, let me tell you.
Here's the story.
As a patron, I can lean over and tell him, and now I'm the cool guy.
That's right. Yep.
So I think we will definitely go through the beer process and your choice of the selections that you have on a future episode. But I think today we've covered a lot of ground, and we hope people hung through the whole thing. Our goal today was to kind of introduce the place and us, and see, plant a few seeds for some fewer new episodes and new thought ideas. You can reach out to us through the Stubborn German Facebook page if you hear this. And if you have a comment or some feedback, we would love to hear them.
Send it.
Send the negative stuff to Chris, and I'll just forward it along. And of course, we invite you to come down to the Stubborn German Brewing Company here in Waterloo, Illinois. It's
absolutely
easy to find. It's maybe you should give us a quick update as we record this. We're kind of hopefully at the tail end of the COVID scenario.
Correct. Yeah, I think we are. People are starting to make their way through the vaccinations and all that, and so yeah, as we sit right now, we are definitely open, not to full capacity, but I think we're at 25 right now. But it's a big place. There's plenty of room. People that are in here are always very courteous. There's masks, being worn everywhere. Our bartenders are always masked up, and
also I can attest to your staff does a very good job of cleaning the tables and the bar and everything. As soon as somebody leaves, they're wiping it down.
Yep.
And that was long before COVID.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, they always did.
No, we never did that before at all.
Well, you would think it was a different level, but
we would throw a towel at you.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's part of the reason I keep coming here through the pandemic. Is I know that you guys are keeping it clean, and I don't have to worry as much as I might somewhere else about what's going on. So, we appreciate it.
So, have no fear.
That's right. Come on down.
COVID's not here. And there is an outdoor beer garden also.
Yep.
So you can, if you're more comfortable out there, the weather's getting nicer here in the Midwest. So we invite you to come by. And I think we're gonna wrap it up with that one.
Yeah.
And invite everybody to come back and listen to the next episode. And if you come to the Stubborn, mention this podcast, and Chris will do something special for you.
Little dance.
Just give you a hug or something?
Yeah. Break out his later hose. And,
you never know. You never know.
So for Jared and Chris, I'm Kevin Ostie. Thank you for listening to the inaugural Stubborn German podcast, and we will catch you next time.